Is about how it interacts with what the Zerg is doing.
Well, let's go ahead and reintroduce the players. In the bottom left-hand position as the red Protoss, it is your hero, Evil Geniuses, Huck. Everybody really cheering for that Canadian hope. His opponent, the Korean phenom, the incredible miracle, it is Byul. So we'll see how these players start out. Do you agree with Forge Fast Expand on this map by any chance? Because I feel like the Forge Fast expansion is the best way to capture a quick third, right? So normally you want to be doing that, but even this ramp is really large.
I don't disagree with that. I don't know if I think it's the best option.
Yeah.
But I think both of them are about equally as good in my opinion.
For getting a quick third.
Yeah, for getting a quick third.
Because no matter what, you're always going to run into a situation where like there's 30 seconds, a minute and a half where you're susceptible.
Yeah, you do want to forge if you go for Forge Expand or for a Gateway Expand. If you're going to go for the quick third, you're going to want at least one cannon, maybe two cannons at it. So you're going to want to forge either way.
Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. It is going to be a Gateway Expand, of course, as we can see a Gateway pop up here. And Byul playing it a little bit differently, going for the spawning pool first. A lot of times you see the hatchery, but we've been seeing a lot of one-player maps or even no scouts in the very beginning stage. I think Byul just wants to be safe and not die to anything silly. That's been his go-to. Whenever he does do something greedy like the hatchery expand, he will throw a drone there just to defend against potential all-ins, potential Forge Fast Expands, or cannon rushes rather, I'm sorry. Huck going to continue on, not getting a second gas. This is something that we normally see him do before taking an expansion. And he is getting a Zealot. Interesting. This can't be a 4-gate, is it? No. No.
Nah, not in this map. If it was a 4-player map, then there's always a small chance of a 4-gate. But if it's any 2-player map like this one, you're not going to 4-gate because the Zerg will scout it right away. And then once you scout a 4-gate, it's not going to work at this level of play.
Yes, I agree.
But
it's just like the build is so different to me, right? He's starting. Oh, no Zealot. I'm sorry. He canceled the Zealot just to make sure, in case he saw any Zerglings in the beginning stages, and then he makes the Stalker, Chrono boosts it out to hopefully get this Overlord kill.
It's smart. You have the extra money to start that Zealot, and then if there's Lings that suddenly come in your base from like a 10-pool speed Ling or something, you let it finish, and if there's not, you just cancel it and start a Stalker. And it's like you invested nothing into it.
Zerglings will sprint in, defending the Overlord, making sure that it does not go down, because this is a supply depot or a pylon.
Will it go down though?
I think so.
I think that this Overlord will go down eventually, even if it doesn't die now. But it is going to die now.
And the Zergling doing a little bit of damage here. Mothership Core is going to pop out and say nope. No thank you. And a Forge goes down yet again with 2 additional gateways.
So we'll have to see if he wants to do just a more defensive style like the last couple games, or if he wants to just use this as a fake and maybe apply some 3 gateways pressure.
I think what's so nice for Byul is that he actually saw that there was no second gas, and then seeing a Stalker and a Mothership Core kind of tells him, okay, it's not going to be any Twilight Gate Twilight shenanigans or DT shenanigans like last time, right? Like, so the range is a lot easier to read right now.
That could always fool him a bit into thinking that maybe it's some gateway pressure after seeing no second gas.
That's true. And it's just a brutally efficient warp gate all in the beginning stage.
Yeah, just 4 gateways, 1 hidden in the main or something. And then you just Chrono boost out Zealots and Stalkers. And sometimes Zerg can skip that Roach Warren if you see the Forge, because you're like, oh, it's a Forge after a gateway spin. He's not going for pressure. But looks like he's covering all his bases and making that quick Roach Warren.
That's right. Income tab showing 32 Harvesters to 28, so both of them are pretty even. I would even say that Protoss is... no, this is a pretty standard position.
Yeah, it's just a standard position for both players.
It will be a fast third base. Look at that. This is a 6-minute, 40-second third Nexus that's popping down here.
I like
incredibly fast.
I think either this or some kind of quick 2-base all-in are the best openings.
Yeah.
Or the best ways to play out on this map.
Now we saw Max Said do something very similar to this a couple days ago, where he took a fast third just like this, put down a cannon, keep him defensive, and just went for a gateway blink all in. And that can be very startling to a lot of players. You just go up to 8 gateways and all of a sudden you're doing a lot of damage. But I feel like even on this map, it can be a little bit tricky. But it can definitely surprise people. Scarlet was definitely surprised in that game, or in that series.
I'm always interested to see how a Protoss plays out Derelict Watcher when it comes up in a PvZ game that they've had time to prepare for like this. Because Huck almost certainly knew he'd have to play Byul in this group. And no Zerg is going to veto Derelict Watcher, so if you're not going to veto it, you have to assume it's one of the maps being played.
Yeah.
And I mean, with as much online as there is, let me restart that. With as much on the line as there is at WCS, you're going to practice for each map if you know the map. So Huck should have prepared specifically for this map against Byul.
Well, Byul is just now starting to saturate all of his bases. So it's a little bit late if we look. No, okay, it's I guess right on time. Just getting the gases now. He's up to a total of 4 gases. Lair has finished. Metabolic Boost going to finish in time as well. Will we see some, 10, 11, 12 minute push from the Zerg or the Protoss?
Looks like it could be a Blink Stalker all-in coming in, just because he is getting +2 so fast. A lot of the time when they do that, he's going to add on gateways, and then just do a +2 or a +3 Blink Stalker all-in. We'll have to see, though.
No blink yet, though. So.
I like the way he's approaching this, because you see how he has a lot of units out early?
Yeah.
One of the more common things for a Zerg to do on this map against a Protoss who takes a fast third is to go for a timing attack.
Yeah.
With either Hydra Ling or Roaches and Lings or something like that. And Huck's making a lot of units.
I think this is just going to be straight up Zealots, like just a mass amount of units. Because look how many gases Huck has. It's only 2. So he's going to go up to 16 probes on each of these Nexi. And he's just going to push forward. He was just getting the Twilight Council for the +2. This is going to be like those funky all-ins that you don't ever expect to come out at this time. But because of the strength of it, the +2 and how many units are out, it just surprises the Zerg so many times.
Maybe. He's adding another 2 gases on now, though, so now I'm not sure. It definitely did look like that, though.
But Blink is still not finished, or not even started, rather.
Yeah, he doesn't have the gas for it now.
And pylons are being added on.
I don't know if this is going to work. I think when Byul saw that many units, he's just starting to make a lot of Roaches.
And look at this. Oh my god, this is so juicy. If these sentries ever walk on top of the Roaches, you're going to have a big problem. And they're going that way. Oh my goodness. But a robotics facility is going to be made out of this. And we're not going to see any all-ins. So Huck just backing up, realizing, okay, my opponent has the necessary material ready to defend against this. I'm not going to try it.
And stage 2 of the push is probably going to be with Blink, maybe +3 weapons.
Which is still a powerful attack because, you might think like, okay, well, because your attack failed, it didn't do anything, you're behind. And no, that's not necessarily true because you still incur indirect damage. Your opponent is still having to use all of his gas, potentially, or use a lot of his gas, use a lot of his income for things like Zerglings and Roaches. And they're not entirely cost efficient. But now we're just waiting on the Observer to pop out here. It is on the way. And this is going to be...
Byul is kind of maybe overcommitting with it towards the Roaches. He's losing some, but he doesn't want to fully commit. And I think that's kind of a mistake when you're going for this kind of Roach Ling play. You usually want to either fully commit or not commit at all, I think.
Oh, and Byul was trying to get into the natural, but that wasn't going to work. Force Field goes down, but not able to trap anything else. And it looks like Huck will be able to stabilize, but the Muta Switch is on its way. And the Muta Switch is a little bit scary, I would say, for both players even.
This could enter a base trade scenario.
Exactly. And with the highly upgraded army of the Protoss, I actually fear going into a base trade scenario with such a small amount of Muta count. Well, that escalated quickly. 18. I just saw 8 in the production tab, and all of a sudden it just jumped up. So maybe not. I mean, that's a pretty comparable amount, and Huck doesn't seem ready for this.
No, I mean, he can defend if he wants to using his Blink Stalkers, but it's going to be tough for him to push out if he just lets the Mutalisk start harassing him. So I'm not sure if the best option is to base trade with like a maxed out army, or if he wants to defend. Because if he defends, Byul can just harass him with the mutas and then base trade whenever he moves out.
Sure.
So it's a tough one for Huck.
Well, Huck needs to choose, and he is pushing out on the map as the mutas start to swing in. They are 0-0 mutas. And
so they don't
instantly,
need upgrades to kill probes.
Yeah, they do not. Instantly, there is a transfer.
And Huck's going for it. I'm glad he's not trying to pull back and defend. I think that would be an incorrect choice.
But so many spine crawlers already ready for these units to approach. Now just going to blink into the third base. Meanwhile, the rest of the Zergling Zealots are going to push in to try to tank that damage. But now the Roaches and Zerglings are going to go into that base trade mode. As you were saying, killing the natural, killing the third base. Cannons are being made over here at the third, but it's not going to be enough. Byul very intelligently not giving Huck enough time to set up some defenses. And that's going to put him on the clock, pushing into that natural base.
Huck just recalled a lot of units into his third base, though. And these Stalkers are easily going to clean up the Roaches there.
All right.
And maybe he even has enough there to defend against the Roaches and the mutas.
That will allow him to salvage some of the position.
If he can defend his third and use these Zealots and Immortals and Sentries to deal a lot of damage, then maybe he can just macro behind this.
I don't know, though. There's so many spine crawlers on that
he's
high
losing
ground.
a lot of Stalkers in the middle of the map.
And he is. I mean, that's an alarming amount of mutas. 28 mutas in that count. And
yeah,
I don't think Huck can do it. I mean, he's in a position where he's losing his main base. He lost his natural. His third base is now going to be under attack, and he has no way to deal with these mutas. They're just too scary, and they can always dodge engagements.
Yeah, they can definitely dodge engagements, but if Huck can somehow manage to force an engagement on the mutas, if Byul messes up his positioning, then he has a chance because his Stalkers have +3 attack, or +2 attack, sorry. But +2 attack is more than enough to beat 0-0 mutalist. And then Huck, he has a lot of Stalkers now.
But
I think that's
as you can see, the attack just fizzled out at the main base. This fourth base is very healthy.
Yeah, Huck needs to move out and somehow shut that down. If he can, then maybe he has a chance. This actually isn't that many mutas. I mean, he has a lot of mutas total, but there's only 16 flying around in a clump. Here's another 4 joining up with them, though.
20 in total. But don't forget, he still has the Zerglings, he still has Roaches, he can produce them, he has the Spine Crawlers to back up too. I mean, there's so many tanking units against these Stalkers that it's almost impossible to actually go for an engagement.
Maybe Huck should just defend and try to pick off some of the mutas whenever he can.
I don't know, man. This is hard.
Byul is only on 2 bases against a 1 base Protoss, which isn't a good situation for the Protoss, but I've seen bigger comebacks before.
Yeah, we'll see. Spine Crawlers are going to be set up. I like this by Byul. And again, Roaches are going to pop up and try to do damage. Kill the pylon that was powering 2 gateways. And it looks like the engagement will happen. These Blink Stalkers are terribly out of position as the mutas are going to give chase. Is there going to be engagement, though, to defend these Stalkers? It looks like...
Maybe he can trap some of the mutas. I'm not sure how they can get out of this position.
I don't think there's enough, though.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough Stalkers on each side. The Roach finally going to be taken out. But this is just too large of a clump.
Maybe he can trap them up here.
But...
I mean, that's enough Stalkers, a lot of Stalkers, but no, I think they're going to slip away. If he could somehow trap the mutas, but then he could have taken the fight, I think, but now they're going to escape, and he's just making more and more mutalisk and Zerglings every minute.
Units tab 37 mutas, 20 Zerglings out in the field. Of course, a lot of those Zerglings are just burrowed up. It looks like, is Huck going to go for this fight? I don't think he can.
Well, Byul is not going to go for the fight.
No, he will never.
Unless
he's just going to bounce around every time.
100% confident he'll win. He's just in the base trade whenever Huck moves out. And if Huck moves out with half of his units, then he'll go kill them.
Byul's in a position where he can just take bases all he wants.
Yeah.
And kind of force Huck to move out, right? Because
he's probably not going to take too many bases just because he knows Huck is on 1. So he's not going to take more than this third base, I think. Just add on more units.
But look at that. A lot of Stalkers being taken out here. Attacking on the edge enables just a small amount of Stalkers to engage. Do we have any upgrades? Still no upgrades for this era, huh?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't even need them at this point. As long as he continues to make mutalisk and Zerglings, there's nothing Huck can do.
Yeah, I agree.
Huck can make more Stalkers, but he can never move out with them. And eventually, Byul will just be maxed, and Huck will be at about 100 supply, 120
here
supply.
comes in. Mutas flying in again. And Zergling's going to be going into the main base, it looks like. Just trading up 36 mutas to 20 Stalkers. And that count just keeps getting lower and lower and lower for the stalkers, that is.
And at this point, Byul can make meterless faster than Huck can make stalkers.
Yep. Let's take a look at the income tab. As you can see, 544 against only 180. So there's your big advantage. I mean, literally more mutas a minute than stalkers.
Here, I think Huck is about to GG as soon as the stalkers die, and Byul is just engaging at this point.
Yep, he knows he has the win. He knows he has just way too many units. And that is going to be it. Curtains for Huck. GG, good luck.